much for joining us today. Wherever you are, if you're working or you're at home or whatever time it is, thank you so much for joining. I know it takes a lot to sign on to things nowadays after we've got a little bit of a Zoom fatigue, right? So my name is Kelsey Marquardt. I am the International Admissions and Retention Coordinator here at Concordia University, Wisconsin, and Ann Arbor. So you can see behind me, I have two schools. That's because we're one university, but two main campuses on either side of Lake Michigan. So Wisconsin over here, and then Ann Arbor over here, Ann Arbor, Michigan. So those are our two main campuses. So today we'll walk through both of them. I'll start with Wisconsin, just because it's our bigger university. So that's where we have more international students. But then we'll do Ann Arbor afterwards. And if you have questions about admissions or the campuses or our programs, hang on, and then we'll chat with me. If you have questions about the ESL Pathway program, so if your English score isn't quite at that level that we need, Moses will also be here to chat with you individually, just to make sure we get all of your questions answered in a very personal basis, okay? But before we get in, I'm gonna have Moses launch two different polls. I'd love to hear from you guys. So poll number one is, what level are you interested in applying for? Now, we heard from some of you, and Emmanuel, like, I know you've already been, you're applied, you're through that process already. But if you're interested in something else, let me know. And then it'll also help me when we're walking through the tour to know what to focus on. So I think that is good, Moses, if we can end the poll. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So we have 3 graduate, 1 undergraduate. Fantastic. And then poll number 2 is going to be about what program you're most interested in. Okay. So I'll give you a minute to look at this. And again, I know we've heard from some of you already. But for some that we haven't heard from, this would be very helpful. Okay. We've got 3 responses in right now. There we go. Right. All right. Fantastic. Yeah, I think you can click more than one if you're interested. Okay, so you can see here, business, computer science. Those are our 2 most popular programs, so that does not surprise me. And then we have education and other. Okay, interesting. All right, fantastic. So I'm going to launch into the tour, the virtual tours, but because they take a lot of internet capacity, I'm going to turn my camera off just to help with that a little bit. So much for joining us today. Wherever you are, if you're working or you're at home or whatever time it is, thank you so much for joining. I know it takes a lot to sign on to things nowadays after we've got a little bit of a Zoom fatigue, right? So my name is Kelsey Marquardt. I am the International Admissions and Retention Coordinator here at Concordia University, Wisconsin, and Ann Arbor. So you can see behind me, I have 2 schools. That's because we're one university, but 2 main campuses on either side of Lake Michigan. So Wisconsin over here, and then Ann Arbor over here, Ann Arbor, Michigan. So those are our 2 main campuses. So today we'll walk through both of them. I'll start with Wisconsin, just because it's our bigger university. So that's where we have more international students. But then we'll do Ann Arbor afterwards. And if you have questions about admissions or the campuses or our programs, hang on, and then we'll chat with me. If you have questions about the ESL Pathway program, so if your English score isn't quite at that level that we need, Moses will also be here to chat with you individually, just to make sure we get all of your questions answered in a very personal basis, okay? But before we get in, I'm gonna have Moses launch 2 different polls. And I'd love to hear from you guys. So poll number 1 is, what level are you interested in applying for? Now, we heard from some of you, and Emmanuel, like, I know you've already been, you're applied, you're through that process already. But if you're interested in something else, and then it'll also help me when we're walking through the tour to know what to focus on. So I think that is good, Moses, if we can end the poll. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So we have 3 graduate, 1 undergraduate. Fantastic. And then poll number 2 is going to be about what program you're most interested in. Okay. So I'll give you a minute to look at this. And again, I know we've heard from some of you already. But for some that we haven't heard from, this would be very helpful. Okay. So we've got 3 responses in right now. There we go. Right. All right. Fantastic. Yeah, I think you can click more than one if you're interested. Okay, so you can see here, business, computer science. Those are our 2 most popular programs, so that does not surprise me. And then we have education and other. Okay, interesting. All right, fantastic. So I am going to launch into the tour, the virtual tours, but because they take a lot of internet capacity, I'm going to turn my camera off just to help with that a little bit. And I'm going to share my screen. All right, Moses, can you give me a thumbs up? You can see it? Perfect. Okay. So like I said, we're going to start on the Wisconsin campus. So this is on the shores of Lake Michigan in the Midwest. Okay, so we get all 4 seasons. And as the tour runs around, you can see literally we are on the shores of Lake Michigan. We have, it's almost like oceanfront property, Those are $1 million views we have right here. In the summertime especially, students can go down right on the lake shore and dip their toes into the water, or they'll have campfires and make some s'mores, which is very American, down there on the lake shore. So we are located in Mequon, Wisconsin, which is about 20 minutes north of Milwaukee, which is the largest city in Wisconsin, and about 2 hours north of Chicago. So that means we are close to some really great resources of huge cities and international airports, while also having a little bit of breathing room between those big cities. So we are the #1 safest campus in Wisconsin, and a lot of that has to do with our location. We are also connected by tunnels completely underneath all of the buildings. So during the colder months, because we do get snow, you don't have to put a coat on once you arrive to campus. You can take it off and never put it back on, which is one of my favorite things, because I'm a Wisconsinite born and bred, but that does not mean I love the cold. So the tunnels are one of my favorite things about campus. So our total enrollment is right around 7,000 students, and about 600 international students call Concordia, Wisconsin their university. Faculty ratio is about 12-1. Okay, so we have very small classes, which means the professors really get to know you and what you need, and there's always time for you to go up and ask questions. We have over 70 undergraduate programs here at the Wisconsin campus. And so we have students, as you saw, business, computer science are our most popular for our international students, but that doesn't mean we don't see some, art education majors that come in, for sure. We also have a 90% job placement rate once students graduate. So within 1 year of students graduating from Concordia, Wisconsin, 90% are either fully employed, part-time employed, or are pursuing further education. Okay, so we are going to move on to the next one here, and I'm going to have Moses keep an eye on the chat box in case people have questions. So he can ask those for me because I can't see that chat box anymore. But here we have our campus bluff. So you can see this is kind of like an auditorium over here. During this time of COVID, it's been a very popular place to host classes or events. So we'll have bands play down by this little outcropping here. but also it's a great place to get a good workout in, because past this, there are a winding path that goes back and forth. So those who really want a good workout in a beautiful location will run the stairs or run the paths, so they get a really great workout getting those hills in, right? Again, like I said, it's very popular in warmer weather as well. All right, we're going to continue on here. So this is our visitor center area. As you can see, we have lots of green space on campus. So students in the warmer months are, playing soccer or having hammocks out because the trees are the perfect distance to put up a hammock. And the International Center has hammocks for international students to use as well. So you don't have to bring your own or purchase one. And while I was here, I wanted to talk about scholarships a little bit. So we have undergraduate scholarships for international students that are based on your GPA in high school. Okay, so we don't require the ACT or SAT. That does not impact whether you get admitted or whether you get a scholarship, okay? Now, because our graduate programs are much more affordable than others you're going to find in the United States, we do not offer graduate scholarships. However, let me make a big note that you are able to work on campus. You can apply for student worker positions when you arrive on campus. Okay, so we have graduate students and undergraduate international students working all over campus in a lot of different places. Some work in the International Center with me, some work in the library, some work in the dining hall. So there are lots of places that you can apply for, okay? Any questions here, Moses? I saw you unmute.
There's just a specific question around physician assistance program. Is that undergrad or graduate?
That, I believe, is a graduate program.
Great. So,
okay.
Karen, that answers your question.
All right, and I promise if I don't know it right offhand, because that, like I said, is not one of our more popular programs for international students, I promise to look into it more and get back to you. All right, so make sure you just put your contact information, your email address, and a message to me, and I'll get back to you. So here we are in the chapel courtyard. So you can see lots of big green space, right? Again, and those perfect trees for hammocks. During this time of COVID as well, this has been a very popular space for our band and choirs to practice because they can space out a lot. This is also where when we had snow, there were lots of snowball fights and lots of snowman building competitions here in the chapel courtyard. And this is also a great place to eat outside and enjoy the beautiful weather. All right, we're going to continue on. So this is our chapel on campus. So Concordia University, both Wisconsin and Ann Arbor, are private universities, which means we are faith-based institutions. So we are Lutheran, which is a type of Christian, but I want to note that you do not have to be Christian or Lutheran to be a part of Concordia's family here as students. In fact, many of them are not. So you would be not alone if you're not Christian here on campus. But we do have chapel every day, and classes pause. No classes are scheduled during chapel so that students have time to come and practice their faith. If you've never been to one, I suggest going just once to see what it's like, as well as just being in this beautiful space. Okay. All right, next we're going to continue on to my home here. This is where my office is. This is the International Center. So we think of this as our international students' living room. So you guys can come hang out here. We have coffee and snacks all the time. We also recently added an Xbox with FIFA. So we have students coming to hang out and just, relax and play some Xbox when they're not doing classes. Although I came in this morning very early, and we had some Korean students working together before their big test today in biology. So it's also a great place to just come and study before class as well. Usually when we aren't in a pandemic, this space gets moved around all the time because we host several big events and celebrations to celebrate our international students. So some of our things are, we have International Education Week, where every single day for a week, we're celebrating multiple countries with partnering with students of what's an authentic snack or food from where you're from, and we order that. It takes a lot of work and planning, but it's always wonderful. But then we also do things like celebrate Diwali or celebrate Nigerian Independence Day, and just all around the world. Yeah, exactly, Emmanuel. Thumbs up. It's always a fun one to celebrate. So now during COVID, things look a little different. We do kind of take and go things, but we still want to make sure our international students feel like they're not alone. So when COVID first hit, it was right at the start of Ramadan, if you'll remember, and Easter. So for those students who celebrate those holidays, we made care packages and hand delivered them to students in the Milwaukee area, because we know that that is a lonely time if you're away from home and not able to celebrate. So even COVID or not, we are making sure our international students are cared for. We also have our international student advisor, Robin Kuzu, who is an expert in all things visa related and international student related. And one of the really great things of coming to a mid-sized university is that you get to have private counseling sessions with Robin instead of having those large group sessions where you can make sure your specific situation is covered and you get all of your questions answered. I see that there are some things in the chat. Moses, anything we need to talk about right now?
Maybe we can talk about this a little bit later. It's about English. So we
Okay,
get to that.
Sounds good, perfect. All right, now let's continue on to the library. So this is Rinker Memorial Library. Now, some things I want to point out. The deeper back you go into the library, the quieter it gets. So if you're someone who needs, some, sounds of a coffee shop, well, you're in luck because there is a Starbucks located within our library. But if you are the person who needs really some peace and quiet, you can find that too here in the library as well. There are also, during COVID, there are stickers on each of the tables, and then you can flip them over to red when you leave so people know it hasn't been cleaned yet. And then someone will come over and clean it after you leave and flip it back to green. So everyone knows that they're being very safe and cautious. In here as well, you're going to find computers that you can see right there. They're for your use. We also have comfort dogs. So we have 2 golden retrievers on campus that have been trained specifically to provide care and comfort and a very calming presence. I will say they're very popular during finals when you just need a snuggle and you're missing your home and your pet at home. So you can find Zoe and Sage around campus. We also have tutoring here on campus. So we have academic tutoring and also a writing center. And both of those are absolutely wonderful and have lots of experience working with international students. All right, we're going to move on here to the Batterman School of Business. All right. And I know business, computer science were the 2 main programs we were interested in as a group, which is great. So if you can see those big shelves back there, that is our 3D makerspace. So our computer science students, you may be familiar with 3D printers, okay? So Concordia, Wisconsin has the largest private collection of 3D printers in the state. And you, as a computer science student, have free access to them. You can use them as much as you want. You do not have to pay for materials. And that is really excellent when you're trying to get hands-on experience, right? So you are going to be a pro at using those machines versus someone who's maybe at a larger university who needs to wait in line, right, and schedule time. Right now, those 3D printers are being used to help with COVID relief. So they're making masks with those 3D printers, and we're distributing them around our community. Then if you are interested in our business center, this is also where our collaboratorium is housed. You can see all these cool seating locations and a ping pong table, which helps with collaboration, of course. So our business school is very well known. And in fact, our MBA program is the largest in the state of Wisconsin. And that's for good reason. We have lots of concentrations to choose from, and 2 of them are STEM designated. So for those of you who aren't aware of that, after you would complete an OPT for a year, you can then apply for STEM extension. And that means you get 2 extra years of working in the United States. And those 2 STEM concentrations are Management Information Systems and Sustainability Management and Analytics. So those 2 are very popular amongst our international students, right? Because they're like, I want that STEM extension. You can also double up on concentrations if you choose. So you can get 1 STEM concentration, for instance, and something else like healthcare administration. We have all of our concentrations listed on our website. We also have a scholars program for our business and computer science undergraduate students. So this is a way for highly qualified students to get a bachelor's and master's degree for business and computer science in 4 years at no extra cost, which is an amazing opportunity. I will say, a reminder that this is for highly qualified students because the program is very rigorous, okay? So if you want more information on that, put in the chat. I'll make sure to get it over to you, okay? All right. Then moving on to our speech language pathology building, just to let you know that it exists here. So this is where we work with young children to help with their understanding of language and if they may have a hearing impairment. Okay, so this is a new area on campus. All right, we're going to move on to our health professions lab. Now, nursing and the medical professions are one of the main kind of employers in the state of Wisconsin. So our nursing program is very competitive and highly, a very good quality program. So you can see here that we have lots of places where it looks like a real hospital, right? So this is where students can practice those skills before they go to their clinical rotations to make sure they're really prepared when they go into those. That means we have a higher than average NCLEX, which is the nursing certification test. We have higher than average pass rates. All right, moving on then to our health professions, or our School of Nursing simulation lab. Now this looks even more like a hospital, right? So again, our students who are in the nursing program, you'll often see them walking around in their scrubs or the outfit that you wear in the hospital. And that's because we're trying to get them normalized into what life as a nurse is going to be like. And here you can see too, we had that simulation dummy. So inside of it has, you know, all the body parts that you would find in a real person, but without the pain of having to stick a real person, right? Especially for someone who's just training and learning those skills for the first time. So that is a really wonderful and excellent. Now we're going to move over to our landing and commuter lounge. Now this is just a really great hangout space, but the thing I want to note here is you can see there is a great place right there by those 2 smiling faces to get food. So this is kind of like our Subway or our sub sandwich location on campus. So there are 4 main eating areas on campus. This is one of them, but there are others as well. So there's just multiple places to find the perfect study spot for you. Now, no one said they were interested in pharmacy, but I saw some people join in. Perhaps we have some future pharmacists among them. So our School of Pharmacy is really competitive, but extremely high quality, like our nursing program. It also, during this time, is serving as a COVID vaccination site. So we are blessed that every day we're vaccinating around 100 people, I think, per day with the COVID vaccine. So if that doesn't tell you how trusted we are in our area and with our state government, then that's a huge thing. Also it means that our professors and teachers and students have really great access to that COVID vaccine. All right, and then moving on here, we're going to the Todd Ware Auditorium. Now this is where, if you're interested in perhaps being in a performance or a play of some kind, or being a musician, taking a music class, this is where a lot of your performances are going to happen. As I said as well, we do have undergraduate scholarships for academics, but we also have fine arts scholarships that are given at the discretion of the program director, okay? So those, if you're interested in them, are going to be awarded by the program director, all right? So now we're gonna move over to our Lober and Stunkel labs. Now this, if you've been in science labs before, you're like, okay, I feel at home, right? This looks very familiar. But while we're here, I wanted to talk about our Masters of Product Development program. So here at Concordia, we have Masters of Product Development, which means if you're interested in chemistry or developing pharmaceuticals, so developing medicine, we have a very fantastic program for you. It has 3 different concentrations: pharmaceutical, chemical, and food and beverage. So if you are interested in the building blocks and the business behind creating those very vital and necessary, state-of-the-art things, the Masters of Product Development may be just the right thing for you, right? So going on over then to our Siebert Dining Hall. So this is what it looks like pre-COVID, of course. It's very buffet style, so you can get up and grab more, especially if we have some growing young people here, right? Never not hungry. We have something for you, certainly. There are vegetarian options that are changed out daily. There's also a salad bar that is changed out daily. And just like the library, where we have those tables with the stickers that you turn it over if it's not cleaned yet, we have those here right now during COVID. Also, all tables in the dining hall and the library are at a minimum capacity. So only a certain number of people can be at a table at a time. Moving on then to our Falcon's Nest. Now this is one of the other places that you can grab some food. There is also another Starbucks here as well. We know college students need coffee, right? It's the lifeblood of college students. But this is also a great hangout space as well. And also kind of our student union. So it goes back much farther. And that is where we have, comedians and speakers and just, fun things like build your own terrarium crafts going on. But it's a great place to hang out. It also has kind of like a small grocery store. So if you're like, I really want a bag of chips or crisps, as our UK friends call it, you can grab that here too. All right, athletic training facility is up next. So this is for our athletic trainers, or if you wanted to be an undergraduate student athlete. This may be where you spend some time. You can see we have that pool there for hydrotherapy and also those ice baths, which I would never be brave enough, but I hear from student athletes that they are amazing and necessary. I'll take their word for it. Our Masters of Rehabilitation Science program will often be here as well, putting those hands-on skills to use. Now, while we're here, I'm going to have Moses launch our poll number 3, which is, do you want to play an undergraduate sport? Is there a sport that you want to play? So that poll is up now if you want to put your response in. And then if you press yes, put in the chat what sport you're interested in. What type of athlete are you interested in being? Concordia has over 30 sports teams, which is a lot for a school our size. All right, so we have 2 yes, 2 no, 1 maybe. All right, so we've got some perhaps future athletes with us today. Welcome. I'm sure you are in great shape, better than I, especially during this time of COVID, right? Moses, what kind of sports do we have going on in the chat?
It doesn't seem like anyone has mentioned that yet, so please type in what sport you might be interested in. I'd love to hear.
Yeah, maybe it's hockey or football or soccer. Volleyball is also popular amongst our international students.
Badminton.
Badminton. Okay. I don't think we have an actual sports team for that, but I believe it's an intramural. So you could play it for fun. And that, you know,
Soccer.
sometimes it's better. Soccer. All right. Good to know. All right. So we're going to move on then to our field house. Now, this is where we have a lot of athletic games happening. It's where basketball, volleyball, it's also where a lot of practice happens. If you're not on the sports team, there's also free gym time as well. So you can, you know, go hang out with friends, play some, shoot some hoops. In fact, we had a Nigerian student who was just always having fun shooting hoops at a similar time when our basketball team was playing. And so he became friends with the basketball team and the coaches. And you know what? He is starting this next semester on the basketball team. And so we're very proud of him in the International Center of, you know, being out there and showing that you're interested and willing and you have the ability to play. It gets you places. Now, while we're here, I want to note that we are a Division III school at Wisconsin, which means we are not able to award athletic scholarships. But do not fear, because the next campus we're going to look at, Ann Arbor, is a Division II school, which means they are able to issue athletic scholarships. So if you're interested in athletic scholarship, playing a sport for some scholarship, we'll talk about that more at the Ann Arbor tour, okay? But also on both campuses, we have an esports team, which means if you want to play video games as a student athlete, you can do that. And remember, Ann Arbor is able to issue athletic scholarships. So it is possible to get an athletic scholarship to play video games on the Ann Arbor campus, which is just, it's a sign of the times, right? This is the 21st century. Video games are becoming more and more common. All right, but you might not be playing here on the stadium for your esports team. Then we have this beautiful baseball diamond. During COVID, it was where we held welcome weekend because it was outdoors and we could space people very appropriately. So you'll see that for both campuses, it's been very important to us to stay open, but also to stay safe for our students. So if you're interested, we have that beautiful stadium there. Great place to cheer on your fellow Concordians. This is our CCES building, or in other words, the Environmental Science Building. It has beautiful classroom spaces, you can see with the lake in the background. This is where we have general classroom space, but also lots and lots of fish tanks and growing the farms where it's all very light generated and hydro plants and things like that. So if you're interested in just learning more about that, we have the building for you. Now, for those undergraduate and graduate students, we accept both, who want to live on campus. You can, and we have lots of options for you. But I want to note that you do not have to live on campus if you don't want to. Starting right away your freshman year, you can live off campus if you choose, or if you have family in the area, as many of our international students do, you can live with them. We are not going to force you to live on campus. It would also probably save you, it would be more affordable to live off campus just because we provide for everything our students might need. But just to know that it's a possibility for you. There are lots of room setup options available. So you can have a single style up to like an apartment style. So depending on what you're interested in, we have it here for you. All right, moving on then to our Coburg Residence Hall. Now, some of our buildings are a little older, some are a little newer, but some of them, you know, even if it's an older building, students sometimes want that great view of Lake Michigan, or they want to be close to the athletic fields, or they want to be close to the parking garage, you know. So it all depends really on what you're looking for and the location. But all of them have this kind of hangout space where you can put your feet up, hang out on the couch, have a great time. All right, so we are coming to the end then of our Wisconsin tour. And for those who did not join us right at the start, again, here's that beautiful view of Lake Michigan. We have those $1 million views. Any questions about the Wisconsin campus specifically before we move on to Ann Arbor?
There's just a quick question about accommodation on campus. Emmanuel, do you want to ask that question more in detail, or I know you asked for some information on accommodation on campus.
Yeah, I think she already talked about. I just hope to know what facilities are available and the size of such hostels and proximity to classrooms and stuff like that. I don't know if there's any link or something I can check them on.
Yeah, you bet. So on the cuw.edu website, we have all of our dorms have walkthrough video tours of them, and also we'll have layouts, so like floor plans, so you can see exactly what you're getting for that. And I will note as well that all of the living costs are the same across the board, whether you want to live in an apartment style or a single style. So there is no difference in cost there. All right. I'm going to stop.
I'll put that in the chat. I'll put that link in the chat for you.
Oh, thank you so much. Now I'm going to jump over to the Ann Arbor campus. And I know already we have some students who are interested in Arbor. So give me one moment.
Welcome to Concordia University.
All right. I'll share my screen one more time. All right, Moses, one more time. Thumbs up, good?
Yep.
All right, fantastic. All right, so here we are at the Ann Arbor campus. So if you weren't here at the very start, we are one university, two main campuses. So Concordia, Wisconsin, and then Concordia, Ann Arbor, Michigan. So one university, two main campuses. Now, this one is located in Ann Arbor, Michigan, like we've said, which is always ranked the #1 college town in the United States, right? And that is for a great reason. There are other colleges in the area, so the amount of student housing is phenomenal. There is also great transportation in the area. And then also there's just events that college students want to go to all the time in the Ann Arbor area, as well as those great, beautiful views of the Michigan trees turning color, going hiking. So there's just a lot going on the Ann Arbor campus. Now, I will say that if you love the idea of being in the #1 college town in the US, but also think a big giant university where you're just a number isn't really for you, you want those smaller class sizes, then Concordia and Arbor is going to be a great fit. And that's because our total enrollment is around 1,500 and about 20 international students there. So it's a much smaller university, but that means the community there is amazing. Professors know you by name. They'll see you when you're going to the grocery store to pick up some food. And then also the faculty ratio is 11-to-1 with our students. So that means, when you're in a classroom, they know you so well when you're working with them. They have more than 60 undergraduate programs here on the Ann Arbor campus. Business, computer science, and education tend to be the most popular there on the Ann Arbor campus, as well as nursing. That's kind of the jewel of the Ann Arbor campus. And I will note that our graduate programs on the Ann Arbor campus are only available online. So if you're interested in traveling to the United States for a graduate program, you are going to be looking at the Wisconsin campus, okay? Not the Ann Arbor campus. All right, so then this is the Earhart Manor. This is where our admissions office is. So this is where you would get to have your in-person tour if you were interested. And then we are going to move on to Central Campus. So Central Campus is just kind of the heart of campus. So all of the different kinds of buildings, the business building, the fine arts building, they're all separated. And unfortunately, they do not have tunnels, but that is okay because it's only a 5-minute walk from one end of this campus to the other. So you will not be outside for very long, okay? Also, just like the Wisconsin campus, we have academic scholarships available for undergraduate students, okay, based on GPA. They also will then have those fine arts scholarships at the discretion of the program directors, okay? All right, so then let's move on here to our Student Services building. So our Student Services building houses a lot of things, including our international specialist, Svetlana. Svetlana is an expert at taking care of those international students, and she goes above and beyond for each one of them. So if they need to and they need someone else to help them move, I know Svetlana has helped loan her vehicle. She's played driver for those. Or if a student is ill, she has brought them homemade soup. So really you have a wonderful family member already with you and assigned to you when you arrive to the Ann Arbor campus. So she is just fantastic. We're going to move on now to the Nest. And the Nest is our student union on the Ann Arbor campus. It also houses our fitness center and game room. So those students who might be interested in joining a sport, know that you are in good company when you come to the Ann Arbor campus, because an overwhelming majority of students are student athletes or they're best friends with one. So we have just a lot of sports and fitness going on the Ann Arbor campus. Everyone's in great shape. We also have a great view of the Huron River. So both campuses have gorgeous water views, just a little different. So if you're interested in just taking a break, walking down by the river where you can just take a moment of peace, maybe before a test, that is where you'll find some other students as well taking advantage of that. All right, we're going to move on to the Chapel of Holy Trinity. So like I said before, both campuses are private universities, which means they are faith-based universities. So chapel happens every single day. And again, just like the Wisconsin campus, classes pause during this time, so students are able to go to chapel every day if they want. But you do not have to. It is not mandatory, nor is it required for you to be a Christian to be a part of the Ann Arbor campus. In fact, many of them are not. So you would be not alone if you were to join this campus, okay? So don't let that scare you. This is Chapel Point, so you get a better view then of Lake Huron. This is also where you'll find students playing soccer and hanging out on a beautiful summer day, or doing those snowball fights, where the vice president of the university is often there sledding with students in the winter. It's one of his favorite things to do. So everybody on that campus is a huge community. It's so wonderful to be a part over there. So then we're moving on to the Cruft Center for the Arts. Oh, my apologies there, 1 second. All right, so the Cruft Center for the Arts, it's right next to the music room as well. So it's just a very creative space when you're there. There's music playing, there's sculptures being made. It's just wonderful. And like I said, there's those fine arts scholarships that are available by the program director. So if you're interested in pursuing some of that, let me know in the chat and I'll make sure to get you some more information after the tour. All right. So there's also an art museum as well as part of this. So it's a great place to, get a great Instagram photo of, or just to, if you want to appreciate some art, that is there for you right on campus. This is our Zimmerman Library. Okay, so you could see there are computers there for you to use. So if you need something that's a little higher quality or a program that you don't want to pay for, right? Those Adobe programs, for instance, those are there for you in the Zimmerman Library Computer Lab. There is also tutoring here in the library, so both academic and writing center. Both of those are going to be available for you here in the library. And it was recently renovated, so these photos are a little old, and you could be one of the first ones taking advantage of the renovated space. All right, moving on to that science building, we have wonderful science classes for physics, biology, chemistry. Again, if you're in the sciences, if you're interested in pursuing those in an undergraduate major, this is going to look like home to you, right? So those are very popular for our students. It's a great place to practice those skills of biology or chemistry. Next, we're moving on to the residence hall. So again, on campus, you can live if you prefer, or if you want to take advantage of some off-site housing locations, you certainly can. But our Ann Arbor campus has kind of a unique layout for our dorms. So you can see this looks like a normal dorm room, right? Normal American dorm room. But all of these are situated in kind of mini apartments. So you have your dorm room like this, but then you exit out into this giant communal living space that has a kitchenette and a living room where you kind of have like built-in family again right away when you move in. So it's a great place to just get to know people who are in your building. But also, you know, if you're not best friends with your roommate, and that's not the case all the time, you have access very quickly to others who might be your next best friend while you're here studying in the United States. Then we're going to move on to the field house here. So like I said, Division II athletic school, which means we are able to issue athletic scholarships on the Ann Arbor campus, including those esports teams are able to issue athletic scholarships. So if you really want to play sports in college as an undergrad and get a scholarship while you do it, those scholarships are at the discretion of the coach. Okay, so you show the coach your video reels or your stats, and they then award you the athletic scholarship. Okay, I wish I could say exactly how much you're getting, but that's going to be a decision by the coach. All right, Cardinal Stadium is one of the most up-to-date stadiums in the Ann Arbor area. And it is where you can find our football team or the soccer team practicing and playing. And so it's a great place to just cheer on your team. It's a great thing to do on a Friday night. And you'll see lots of stands there. They get full, let me tell you, and loud. But it is a fantastic place to just build your identity as a Cardinal. All right, so we have main campus, but then we also have our North Building. So our North Building is where we house our health sciences. And there's also a shuttle that drives between the main campus and the North Building as well. So we'll look inside in just a minute, but to let you know that this houses the School of Nursing, the Athletic Training Program, the Health and Human Performance, and Exercise Science. So all of those are hanging out in our North Building. So we're going to dive now into the Nursing Skills Lab. Now, you're going to be here and you'll be like, did we come into a hospital? No, not quite. But you can see it's a bigger space to practice nursing skills in than our Wisconsin area. And let me tell you, I've been here, I've walked it. When I walked in, I was like, I'm in a different world. It feels and smells and sounds just like a hospital when you walk in. Everyone's wearing scrubs. The professors all have their white coats on. It's like a mini hospital when you walk in. So again, getting those really important hands-on skills before you go into clinicals, before you graduate is so important, especially right now during COVID, right? When it was a little harder for us to get students into hospitals for clinicals, right? So these were even more important to have state-of-the-art facilities for our students. And those mannequins that have all of the inner workings of the body, those are very expensive and very high tech. They're state of the art, haven't been used as much. So our students really enjoy working with those. All right, and then we're at our last stop here. This is our athletic training lab. Again, you can see state of the art, all of the top equipment, lots of space to practice and get our student athletes back to their top peak performance. So you're working not just with dummies when you're in the athletic training program, you're also working and helping our student athletes. So you get that hands-on experience. All right, so I'm gonna put us back to the Earhart Manor. And while I do that, I'm gonna have